Our first presenter was wrongly convicted and sentenced to death. After 30 years in custody and 16 years of tireless work from Mr. Bryan Stevenson and the Equal Justice Initiative, Mr. Anthony Ray Hinton was exonerated and freed, making him one of the longest lasting or serving death row prisoners in Alabama history. Today, Mr. Hinton is a powerful advocate for abolition of death penalty, and tonight he is with us live from Montgomery, Alabama.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Ray Hinton, and I spent 30 years on Alabama death row for a crime that I did not commit. Had it not been for Bryan Stevenson and the Equal Justice Initiative, I would not be able to be here today. 30 years is a long time to stand on somewhere for a crime that you didn't commit. Bryan Stevenson worked diligently to get me off, and I am here today. Let's watch the film.
Bryan Stevenson is a leading US civil rights lawyer striving to reform the criminal justice system. Stevenson's work is rooted in the realization that society and the justice system are plagued by systemic racism due to the unresolved history of slavery and white supremacy in the US. The US has the highest rate of incarceration in the world, disproportionately affecting people of color and the poor. As a result of racial prejudice, people of color are often stripped of their right to a fair trial and face harsher sentences when found guilty. Defending the marginalized and the condemned, Stevenson has argued and won several cases before the US Supreme Court. He is the founder and executive director of the Equal Justice Initiative. To date, he and his organization have won release, relief, or reversal for over 140 wrongfully condemned individuals on death row. Stevenson and his team are also deeply engaged in documenting the history of slavery, lynchings, and segregation in the US. Stevenson is advocating for a society-wide process to face the legacy of slavery and white supremacy in the US. With compassion and moral clarity, he is paving the way for societal healing from the country's long and violent history of racial injustice.
Today, Bryan Stevenson spent over 30 years fighting for the end of the death penalty. Bryan Stevenson have fought for 30 years to be a voice for those that don't have a voice. Bryan Stevenson have fought for 30 years to fight for those that couldn't fight. Today, it is my honor to present Mr. Bryan Stevenson with the Livelihood Award.